Lauren and I are just thrilled to be with all of you this morning and spend some time with you and be able to talk about how you can market and communicate your wins. And we're talking about this to help you with marketing and communicating those wins to your employer, to your members, to your guests, future employers, just ways that you can continue to create value for yourself and for your employer, your members. And this is something that we have always emphasized in player engagement and career services, but just, something that we feel is very important for you to be able to do. And I think I've learned over the years that in my positions I've had that a lot of times we as golf professionals, for some reason, don't market ourselves as well as we could, and sometimes lose sight of the ability to do that, and also lose sight of how important it is that you do that to continue to elevate yourself and show your value to everybody around you. So just some quick introductions. I think everybody knows me in the section, but born in Pittsburgh, grew up in Houston, in the Woodlands area, went to Mississippi State, and also have a master's in business from University of Colorado, and have an amazing family. My youngest, Jack, got married 2 weeks ago. They're living here in town, and then my oldest is just graduated from college and working on finding a job in the computer industry, hoping to get into cybersecurity. I've had 40 years in the industry. Had an amazing opportunity throughout my career to work in amazing places throughout the country. But I have to say that my most rewarding has been the last 8 years working for the PGA of America, serving as a player engagement consultant. And then the last 2 years have just been awesome, serving in career services and helping everybody with their careers, and serving in executive search as well, and helping employers find that. And so, with a lot of that experience that I've had over the years, I really am looking forward to sharing some of the things that I've learned about marketing yourself and tooting your horn, I guess you could say, throughout the years that I've been in the industry, and how we can help you today. Lauren?
Good morning, y'all. My name's Lauren Court Lasprilla. You can see Lauren Court Lasprilla. I just got married last June, so you'll see the name transition slowly to Lauren Lasprilla over the next couple of years. Just didn't want to confuse people, as I'm new to the Georgia section. This will be my second year as the player engagement consultant. As when Doug moved on to career services, I came on board. I actually grew up in Atlanta, Gwinnett County, went to high school at Collins Hill, and got my start with the golf in the Georgia PGA section events. So the Georgia section's always been near and dear to me. Went to college and played at Georgia State for 4 years. Got my degree in marketing and then my master's in sports administration before joining the PGA and moving down to Florida to work in the player engagement department. So Doug and I have been working together for the past 8 years, and was thrilled to take over Georgia, because that meant I got to still work with Doug. So he cannot get rid of me. I have promised him that I will not go into labor during this webinar, so I'm hoping to keep it pretty boring for you here. But am looking to go on maternity leave any day now. So if you don't hear from me for a little while, I will be back, I promise. But yeah, it's great to be here with you all, and great to be sharing a little bit about player engagement stuff that I work with. And then, as Doug said, the best way we can help you all market yourselves and express the value that you're bringing into your facilities, as it's incredible what you all do day in and day out.
Mm-hmm.
So because I'm so new, just a reminder of things that you can reach out to me for, and things that I work very closely with. If you're interested in getting involved in the PGA Junior League program, I work with all of our coaches, setting them up with the program, getting them into leagues throughout the year. If you're looking to host a PGA family golf event, I also work with that program. Great program to also do with PGA Junior League, and then PGA Coach. So if you're looking to get started with any of our trainings or build out your coach profile or anything with PGA Coach, getting onto the app and using the business tools, you can feel free to reach out to me. I've been doing a lot of one-on-one meetings with professionals as the Coach Plus platform has rolled out, just to see what their preference is on which platform they want to be on, whether it's the PGA Coach one or if they want to upgrade to the PGA Coach Plus. So if you are still trying to figure out which one is best for your business, happy to do any kind of one-on-one meeting with you to walk through the Coach Plus platform and then the PGA Coach platform. And then PGA camps, NHSGA, and then NCCGA, all things that I'm involved with. So please don't hesitate to reach out with any of that. And then because it's so new and it is a great marketing tool, just wanted to touch briefly on PGA Coach. If you have not checked out PGA Coach, or if you don't have a PGA Coach profile yet, strongly encourage you to go on there, take a look at everything that you're able to set up and do. That coach profile is a great marketing tool, which we'll touch on a little bit later in the presentation, but also being able to offer different lesson types and booking types and group events, and then the business tools associated with it. So if you're in need of a PDR or two, the training's on there. Great opportunity for PDRs. I think there's about 14 that are available. And then any kind of messaging or student management, any kind of notes, activity plans, all kinds of things on PGA Coach. And then as we roll out PGA Coach Plus, I've been telling all the professionals who are upgrading that I'll keep updating them on things we start putting onto the platform. But you can see a couple of the differences there. Some additional features like a wait listing for group events and additional promotion opportunities for those professionals, and then adding content to the PGA Coach Plus. So adding some recordings of teaching and coaching summits and things like that. So just a small glimpse at PGA Coach Plus and the PGA Coach. It is something you can try monthly if you just want to try PGA Coach Plus. $25 monthly or $250 billed annually, but you can run everything through PGA Coach as well. So happy to sit down, walk through any of that with anyone at any time.
So we're going to have a little interactive portion here. So if you see the bottom right, you see the chat button there. I want you to go ahead and pull up the chat on your computer if you can, because I want to ask this question of all of you. And part of marketing ourselves is definitely our self-marketing documents, and that's what I like to call them, versus resume, cover letter. But in the chat, I want to see, why do you think your self-marketing documents sometimes get rejected by employers? What are some things you think might happen there? Go ahead and put that in the chat for me. If you can't work the chat, go ahead and unmute and tell us if you want.
Well, sometimes it's Clark Spratland at CPALM. Sometimes they get rejected because there's probably too much information. It's there's way too much of the minutia of the most employers understand the details of the job, and to dive into the minutia to cover just to give all these details. They know you know how to do the job. It's what can you do for them?
Yep. Glenn?
Yeah. Well, first, Doug, Lauren, thank you so much for putting this on. Something I see, I think I just saw a chat come across with the same thing I was going to say, but the resume isn't tailored for the job that they're applying for, right? So they may be sending a resume in for, say a golf shop merchandise position, but their top hitters, the first points on their resume are talking about their golf instruction history or something like that. So it's not tailored specific for that exact position. So typically, I think people just don't read the job posting thoroughly is another thing. But
Yeah, definitely agree with that. And you know, a good point to share with all of you. I think a lot of employers today, especially our management companies, you may not know this or understand this, but a lot of times when you apply for those positions, your marketing documents are getting fed into a computer, and they're using artificial intelligence to review that. And so if there aren't things in your marketing document that is not tailored to that position, it will automatically be taken out of consideration for the position. So great point there. So that's great, Martin and Glenn. I definitely agree. And who's Pro Shop? Who's that? I'm sorry, can't see. But the question was, why do our self-marketing documents get rejected by employers? Anybody else?
Doug, I'll throw one more thing out there. Attention to detail, a lot of misspellings. That's a big one.
Yeah, definitely. So, thanks a lot for the for participation. I think that was awesome. So, here are my top 10. I think why self-marketing documents don't get results. And first of all, it's lack of keywords that might match up to, like I said, if it's being fed in through EI, or an employer is looking for specific keywords and things that you've done, or irrelevant keywords, poor formatting. I can't tell you enough how much I recommend using Canva these days to help you put your self-marketing documents together. And if you ever need help with that, I'm there to help. But definitely we've seen typos. We've seen lack of quantifiable results. And what I mean by that is, are you highlighting your achievements in your self-marketing documents? And are you highlighting your achievements when you market yourself to your employer? Week in and week out. Are you doing that or on a monthly basis? But instead of, like Clark was mentioning, putting too much information and putting in duties that you have on a weekly, daily basis, you want to make sure you're listing results. Percentage increase in merchandise sales, percentage increase in member events, participation, things like that, how you've done in budget. So, and then sharing those examples. And then the other thing that I've seen a lot, especially these days, is employees that are applying for positions. They're not including cover letters much anymore. And I think that's really important that you do that when you're marketing yourself and looking at that with that. So, when you start marketing yourself, you want to make sure you're setting a strong foundation, and especially when it comes to your marketing documents, your resume, your cover letter. The steps that you want to look at is good professional formatting, and I'm going to share an example here for you next. And then creating what we now call showcase statements. And I'm going to share with you go through a step-by-step process to help you understand how you create that showcase statement for your marketing documents. And then you want to make sure you're listing your qualifications, your experiences, your education, both soft and hard skills that you have. And then you definitely want to share honors, awards, certifications, and things. And then when it gets to your reference page, where you list your references, I recommend these days, we recommend what's called a reference portfolio. And that is listing your references and then creating or getting a quote from your references to put in that reference portfolio so that the employer can see what people are saying about you. And even if that reference is really busy and they don't have time to do it for you, I recommend create that quote that you think that person might say about you and put it in there, send it to them, and let them approve it. So you want to create that reference portfolio as well, as instead of just having a list of references. Here are two great examples that I've found of new formatting that you can take a look at. This is available in Canva, and it's just a much more attractive way to create your marketing documents these days than just going to Word and listing things down in a Word document. Take advantage of some of the technology we have these days to help you with that and using Canva. So let's talk some about the showcase statement. And this is what I wanted to, this will be what I cover the most for you today when it comes to marketing yourself and sharing your wins. I just think this is so important. So I want you to think of a scenario. An employer is driving down the highway at 70 miles an hour on the interstate. Well, in Atlanta, it might be 85, 90 miles an hour. But they're driving down the interstate, and you've purchased a billboard to advertise your experience, your expertise, your results, your skills. How are you going to quickly and effectively be able to communicate to that employer that's driving down the Atlanta 285 around the belt there, the loop, at 70 miles an hour? How are you going to be able to communicate that immediately to that employer and make them, oh, I'm going to slow down and read a little bit more about this person? How are you going to be able to share that experience, your results, your skills as quickly as possible at the get-go, at the top of your resume, your marketing document? And it's by creating what we now call a showcase statement. And this showcase statement is really, a way to communicate your wins. I want to share that an objective and summary statements, they're now a thing of the past when it comes to your self-marketing document and your resume. Throughout the years, we all know that we put this objective and our summary statement about us at the first of the resume. Well, this showcase statement is a way to do this much better, and it will become more effective for you when you want to get to that thank you pile and the yes pile when it comes to when you submit your resume. So this is a way to showcase your experience, what results you've had, what skills you have, and what you can produce results for this employer that you're talking to, or that you're hoping to talk to and get an interview with. And so you want to start your marketing document with that showcase statement. So, you're going to put your name, your information, and then this showcase statement is something that you're going to want to use at the top of your resume and your marketing document to immediately say a lot of things about yourself to help them understand more about you and how it's applicable to the position. And get them to say, okay, I want to read more about this person and I want to learn more about this person. So you can see here an example that I provided for you. You list the position that you're applying for, whether that's assistant golf professional, merchandiser, head professional, director of golf, whatever it might be, and then just quickly list some of the things that you can do for this employer. Your years of experience, what you specialize in, what you can, and you want to make sure these specializations that you list here are applicable to the job description or the job posting of the job that you're wanting to apply for. And then I always like these words, growth driven, you have integrity, you have accountability. If you're a great leader, show your leadership. And then 3 or 4 bullet points of some of your top achievements in your career. What have you done that's going to be applicable also to this job that you're employing and that you're applying for, and helping you market yourself more to them. So, you can just see some examples here. It talks about increase in golf shop sales, how many tournaments conducted, and what revenue that generated. These are accomplishments right here that jump out at an employer. Assistant management of 26 team members, and then, customer relations and how you've matched up for the standards of where you're currently employed. And so this showcase statement is easy to put together. I'm always here to help you with that. And it's just a now good way to immediately market yourself when you're applying for a position throughout that. And later here, we're going to talk about how you go about marketing yourself to your employer as well in a current job. So I'm going to let Lauren talk to you a little bit how you can apply this now with PGA Coach and with player engagement, and how these things can help you also market yourself to your employer or to a future employer.
Doug, what's one of the first things employers will do when they get a resume or a name of someone who's interested in a position or anything like that. In my mind, it's the first thing I do when I see a name I don't know and I need to know more about a person. It's straight to Google for me.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's where I feel like your PGA coach profile is really important. There is no such thing as like well, there is if you meet someone out and about, sure, but first impressions start as soon as your name hits someone's desk, someone's interaction, someone's word of mouth with consumers, with employers. And so the first thing they're going to do is Google. Same with businesses, right? With restaurants, all that kind of stuff. You Google it. You want to know where you're going, what kind of reviews have been left. So really taking advantage of marketing yourself everywhere that you can is super important. So taking everything Doug just talked about, that showcase statement, the resume, all of that, and making sure that it's also on a coach profile is such a huge opportunity just to have that additional marketing experience, because they will Google your name. So, and the PGA coach profiles, it's one of the first things that will pop up. If you were to Google someone in the section and put PGA, Doug Wert PGA, I don't know if Doug has a coach profile. Doug, do you have a coach profile? You'll probably find it on Google. It'll pop up right there. And so it's another really, really good opportunity to make sure you're sharing your bio, your pictures, your testimonials, anything, your accomplishments, and all of that on your coach profile. Consumers are also going to PGA.com and they're looking to find coaches. And so it's another way that the consumers are engaging with you for the first time. They're going to see what you're teaching, who you're teaching. So a couple of just things I want to talk about when it comes to tips and best practices for your coach profile. Doug, if you'll go to I just tried to move the PowerPoint with my computer and realized I couldn't. So your profile photo, super important that it's clear, that they can see what you look like, what represents you as a coach. So those photos are a type of advertisement. Other photos, they want to see you engaging with people they can relate to. If they're looking for you to be their coach, they want to be able to recognize themselves in your photos. So making sure you've got high quality photos, clear images that are on your coach profile, super important when it comes to consumers looking to connect with you as a coach. And Doug, I don't know if there's a correlation there with employers, if you're sending in like headshots or pictures of anything that kind.
Yeah, definitely. You want to make sure it's a good, clear, professional picture if you're doing that. Some people are still submitting pictures when it comes to their self-marketing document. Some aren't. It's just up to you and what you feel is best with this employer you're applying with.
Awesome. Perfect. So I'm going to drop here in the chat. We have a lot of resources on PGA Coach, a lot of help articles. So if you are stuck and you are looking for some guidance on writing that bio or getting your bio started, of course you can use Doug and myself as resources for that. But we also have a guide set up to prompt you with a couple of questions and things to get you started just when you're trying to put that together. So focusing on your passions and why you're a coach and adding details that tell a consumer how you coach and what you coach. And don't be shy to share the achievements you've earned. I get a lot of feedback from people that they don't want to feel like they're boasting or they're tooting their own horn. Do it. It's something you've accomplished and it's something to be proud of. Make sure it's on there so that people can see it. And then testimonials go a long, long way. People want to know what other people are saying, how they connected with you. So if you have a couple of people that you could get testimonials from, those are always excellent to put up on your coach profile. And I've put an example there. It's just another reference to attest to the kind of coach you are and the people that you work with. My one thing, if you are using ChatGPT, any kind of AI, please make sure you proofread that. People can tell when you have copy and pasted something directly from AI. It can come off a little bit robotic. So if you need any help proofreading that, like Doug said, we're here to help. I've done a lot of one-on-ones, just setting up coach profiles. I know our PGA coach team is always there to help with suggestions on how to optimize that coach profile. But there are also several help articles that you can utilize and get started with. Doug, anything to add there?
No, I think that's all good. I mean, you know, when I do have my coach profile set up. It's not active because I'm not teaching right now, but it is set up. And I think definitely agree with the testimonials. And one thing about the testimonials that can be helpful in helping you market yourself is what I mentioned earlier about the reference portfolio. Those are testimonials you can put in your reference portfolio when you list your references. So, but also on your coach profile, having those testimonials on there, especially when a consumer goes to PGA.com and is looking for an instructor and they find you on the profile, those testimonials are going to be huge in them seeing what you've been able to do with other clients, other customers.
Yeah, and something Doug and I talked about even just yesterday was, I love the analogy of the driving by. You need something to catch their eye right away in your resume, on your coach profile. So it does not have to be a full page of about you. Just grab their interest, draw them in, and then use those testimonials and those pictures to do the rest for you.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you know, earlier I talked about your self-marketing documents and your resume and your cover letter, and ways that you can market yourself to future employers, those that you might be positions you might be applying for. But how can you market yourself to in your current role? You know, to your board, to your boss, to your corporate structure, whatever, to your members, whatever that might be. And to do that, we in Career Services, we've created what's called the Professional Accomplishment Report, the PAR report, we call it for short. And this is just a key resource for you in career advancement as well as marketing yourself. And this is a way, you know, to provide, even on a monthly basis, is what I would do. And some of you may are probably already doing this, putting reports together for your board, for your boss, you know, whatever that might be. But this is documentation of facility accomplishments, facility improvements, and you know, improvements also, that can be, you know, things that you've done not physically, but even just with your members or with your staff, things that have happened there. But and just an update of the department and some of your professional accomplishments as you go along. I'm dropping in the chat now a link to my Career Services resource Google site that's available for all of you in the section. And I've listed at the first of the site now copies of the Professional Accomplishment Report that you can take a look at to help you put this together for your employers if you want to do that. But I also want to mention on this site, you can scroll down and find other resources to help you with various things that you need in your careers. Any of the articles that I've written over time in the work alert are there. There's an article in there about the showcase statement and such that you can go to and read. But you also have the copies of this professional accomplishment report, you know. And so here's some examples for you, you know, as a head professional director of golf, topics that you can share in the PAR report, you know. And that's overall key performance indicators, you know, a specific focus for the month. You know, were you trying to increase merchandise sales for this month over last year for some specific reason? Rounds of golf, are they up? What's, you know, the percentage of that? Revenue per round, dollars per round when it comes to your merchandise sales. Those kind of key indicators that you can compare over the months and over the years. Share this in this professional accomplishment report. How are green fees? Any memberships, new memberships? Talk about your golf shop operations, new material, new merchandise that you've brought in, and in that new merchandise, how were sales with that new merchandise? And, and if one of your staff members did that, make sure you're tooting the horn of that staff member. We all as leaders, that's a big thing that's important, that we're there for our staff and really promoting them. But merchandising, personnel, tournaments, what's going on in your coaching and player development, and junior golf. I include PGA Junior League in there, family golf, those types of things that you can put in there. And then what's going on with your golf cars, but underneath the picture is just an example of something that you can write and include in this report, where you're talking about budget expectations, variances, how you favorable variance for the month, and how you've done with expenses and such. This is just one way for you to continue to market yourself and help your board and your ownership or your members understand what you've accomplished over the past month. And you can do this on a monthly basis so they can see and understand what's going on in your operation.
So just giving you another tool in case you are engaged in any of the player engagement initiatives. We do have a value tracker as well that you can set up to track the value of those programs that are coming in, as well as additional coaching opportunities. This is an example of one that was filled out last year. So the coaching revenue that would have come from the coaching fee that was charged for either junior league, family golf, anything there, and the participants. Right now, our coaches are charging in the Georgia section on average about $325 a player for PGA Junior League. And then for PGA Family Golf, that's included in the PGA Junior League Game Changer fee this year. So that's been a great addition for those families to have that membership waived. But that coaching revenue goes directly to the coach. The thing that has been super helpful from the coaches I've talked to is tracking the value that they're bringing while they're hosting games, while they're getting people involved in their programming. So you can see their cart rental revenue for when they host games and practices, food and beverage, players getting involved in additional programming. A lot of stories about families joining facilities or upgrading memberships at facilities because they're there so often. After games, they stick around, they have dinner, they hang out with other families, they buy things in the pro shop, so merchandise. So this total revenue, this example was all for just one season of PGA Junior League. Most of our coaches host about 2 to 3 throughout the year, spring, summer, fall, maybe some winter in there, depending on how the weather's going that year. So it's just super important to make sure you're tracking that value some way, whether it's through our value tracker, whether it's through a spreadsheet that you're keeping, or the PAR report like Doug was sharing. But it's been incredibly helpful as a tool because it speaks to the success of the programs that are running and that you're leading at your facility. I've had a couple of coaches share that recently it's been really hard to get approval to start new initiatives or to get more tee times or expand their programming. And the conversation becomes easier when you can share the value that it's bringing into the facility. So they've gone in and they've said, hey, what's our slowest times at the club? Here's what I can bring in at that time if you give me a couple of those tee times in order to do Ops 36, DCP, PGA Junior League, any kind of programming, maybe a team golf initiative for adults. We have an adult division of PGA Family Golf this year. So all of that stuff, that conversation just opens up more doors when you can really put a value to what you'll be bringing in by hosting that program, and that conversation becomes earlier. Doug, I don't know if you've had any stories around staffing and retention or people bringing in more staff or asking for more staff because of the success of programs. But I know we've talked about using these numbers also for compensation and negotiation, if you have anything to share with those things.
Yeah, I've definitely heard stories of, success from, let's say, even PGA Junior League. During my time as a player engagement consultant, hearing how the addition of this program, it definitely was a group of facilities in Georgia that had such a large program and so successful, they were able to use this information to help get an additional coach hired for the next year to help with their programming. So it definitely is one of the tools and one of the things you can use to do that, to help you grow your staff, or as Lauren talked about, and something we all talk, that I talk to a lot of you about all the time, is compensation, as well as negotiation when it comes to contract time or review time. And that's one of the things that I'm here to help you with, especially, and that's helping you with compensation reports. Where is compensation right now in your position or other positions you have within your operation compared to what the market is showing right now, and I can help you by providing those compensation reports to help with that. A great example just to share with you, so far this year, in the section we've seen an increase of $326,000 roughly in compensation, and that's a combination of using the compensation reports for negotiation and increasing your compensation around contract time or review time, as well as using that when posting new positions or reposting a position that you need to fill, and getting that information as well. We're seeing increases in those because of the information that we can help you with and help market that to your owner, to your board, whatever it might be, to do so. So we continue to see great success with that all over the country, but in the section it's been wonderful as well.
And I know it's super helpful for Doug and I too when these numbers get shared with us, because we'll take the averages. And I know I have the privilege of working with 3 career consultants, Doug, Ted, Logan, and Keith Fisher. And it's always nice to hear that when they walk into a facility that maybe doesn't have a PGA presence, that they're able to share the numbers that a PGA presence can bring to that facility with the programming that PGA professionals are able to offer too. So it's just another opportunity, another tool to give career consultants as they go into facilities and they connect with facilities and drive compensation for our members and drive jobs for our members too.
Yep, and I even have a firsthand experience with that this year at a club in the northwest part of Georgia. Never had a PGA presence, and got connected to the general manager there through Club Car Rep, and met with them, and was able to show all this information and share with them information on what the advantages would be for them to have someone. And they just recently hired their first PGA head professional. So these are things that we can help with, definitely. But all this comes, into the part of how do I market myself? How do I go about sharing my wins with those around me that need to see that? And you've got to remember to do that. That's really, really important. So, in closing, Lauren, do you have anything you want to share first in closing?
Only that I whiffed and told you I would put my information on the slide, and I did not. So I'll drop it in the chat.
Pregnancy brain.
Pregnancy brain. Thank you. I can only use that for a couple more days.
No, Lauren, it's actually, I hate to tell you, but mother brain is also a thing as well. So I'm very sorry.
That's fine. I'm good with that.
But my information is there. That QR code there will go to my information if you need it. And then, like I said, Lauren says we'll put it in. You put her information, she did there in the chat for you, so you can contact her. And if you're on this call right now and you're not involved in these player engagement programs, my big question is why? Because it's just another tool that we're providing. And I'm not saying that as a past career, as a past player engagement consultant. I'm saying that as your career consultant. And, different ways that you can continue to grow your business, build your value to your employer, to your members, to everybody that plays at your facility, as well as building your future value down the road for growth and such. So, so I want to see if we have any questions.
Yeah, I know we had, I think Rick, if you want to unmute yourself and talk here.
Yeah, I just had a question for Doug after you guys are everybody's gone through.
For me? Go ahead, Rick. If you,
I was just questioning. I've kind of been like, I was in the golf for 20 years. I worked in South Florida and Naples, Florida, at some really nice private clubs, and then I moved to North Georgia, Tallahassee area now. Worked at a club in Glenarvan in South Georgia 4 years, and I got into the coaching. I was a college golf coach at Thomas University for 3 years, and then after that, I became the athletic director there. So I was there for 3 years, and then now I just got back into the golf business, and I'm now the director of golf at Bainbridge Country Club for the last 3 years. So I've kind of been all over the place. So, because my resume from my older clubs in Naples are so old, do I keep those things on my resume, or do I just keep the stuff that I've had for the last 5-6 years, or do I include that information? But I mean, the clubs I worked with are super high end, very private. So I didn't know if I should keep all that stuff on there if I were to, decide I was going to leave here and go to another place.
Yeah, that's a great question, Rick. I think, and this is what I have done personally, just because I have moved around some in my career. It might be time to look at more of a functional style of resume versus a chronological. And basically what that is, that's putting together categories of your accomplishments throughout the years in the industry and listing those categories first after your showcase statement, and then below all those categories listing out, where you've been employed. Because in that functional style of resume, you can put categories that might fit this future employer that you might be looking at, and be able to list accomplishments under each of those categories, such as golf operations, merchandising, administrative, whatever some of those categories might be. I just recommend looking at more of a chronological approach. Functional approach versus chronological. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir. I didn't want to not put any of that stuff down because I'm just where I was. So,
yeah. No, and it's a great way to list some of your best accomplishments in those various areas over the years to make it attractive to an employer.
Okay. I appreciate that.
Yeah, my pleasure. That's a great question.
Yeah, my wife wanted me to take all that stuff off, but I was like, well, that is part of where I came from, where I started, and it's hard not to put any of that stuff on there. Especially if it's a exclusive private club, to show them that I was at similar places like that.
Yes.
So
yeah. And Rick, when we get off, I'll find your email, or you can email me and I'll send you a copy of mine so you can see what I'm talking about.
Okay. Yeah, I appreciate that. Yes, sir. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyone else? All right. If no one else has anything, then there's Doug's contact info. Lauren's is in the chat there. But thank you both for coming on and doing this for our education committee and building our webinar series. Lauren, good luck to you with everything, and congratulations again. It's an exciting time for sure. So.
Thank you all. We appreciate it. It's awesome to be part of the Georgia PGA.
Yes, thank you so much.
All right. Thank you guys. Have a great rest of your week, and we'll see y'all soon.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thanks, Doug. Thanks, Lauren.
Yeah.